Okay, let's get started. I suspect for the next 5 minutes or so, people will still be joining. So if I do stop, it will be because I'm letting people in. But today is in partnership with CIAT. We've been working together to get this presentation put on for yourselves for a couple of months now. So Nura, Joanna, and I have been we're working in the background to bring this together for you and the whole purpose is to try and give you as much value as we can over the next 50 to 60 minutes for you to hopefully walk away and have practical actions that you can take to improve your business and your lives off the back of the information that we shared today. So welcome to you all. Today is very much about you. If you saw the email that we sent out last week, please do take notes. You will forget 97% of what we covered today unless you write it down. If you saw the video, I'd requested for you to bring a notepad, some colors. I'd love for you to just doodle and scribble today, any light bulbs that go off, and just make your notes interesting, because when you refer back to them, you want them to be interesting for yourself and for things to really stand out. So just to make sure that we are all present today, we're all listening and engaged, because this is only going to work if every single one of you is engaged today, responding to questions, sharing your thoughts and your ideas, and that's the way that we are all going to get the most out of it. Please don't be shy to share anything in the chat box, because if you're thinking it, chances are someone else is also thinking it as well. So just a quick test to get us going. In the chat box, can you please list your top 1 to 3 challenges or frustrations in business at the moment? Let's see what comes up, and then we'll get ourselves underway. Recruitment, Matthew, lack of time, chasing consultants, lack of time, scope slip, interesting, time management, cash flow, income, timescales, time management, engaged staff, working for free. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Economic efficiency, deadlines and times. Okay, perfect. We're going to be covering a lot of these topics today. We'll do our best to touch on them. It's going to be difficult to go into depth on all these topics today, but we'll do our best to give you as much value as we can. So what are we going to be covering today? How you can start to work fewer hours and build a more profitable business. The 3 key points we're going to be covering are mindset and how you are the change. I'll explain this in a little while. We're going to start to cover how you can build a business to work fewer hours. And this is going to be critical. I'm going to share 5 ways for you to start increasing the profits in your business almost overnight. So to give you some context and why I'm sitting here, my name's Goldreich Sahota. Most people know me as Cooks. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've actually got 3 businesses of my own, not in architecture or architectural technology, but different types of industries. And actually, I'm a full-time business coach. It wasn't always like this. My first business was a property development project out in India. I didn't speak the language, so naturally went out there and decided to build 152 apartments with a friend of mine. And we didn't use proper architecture or architectural technology services, but still it was a fantastic fun project. I sold out of that and then actually started my own family brand, which got us onto the TV, on the press. We were on radio, started being listed with the supermarket, so Sainsbury's, Tesco's, Asda, started from a garden shed really, and the businesses started to scale and rocket very, very fast. So the reason I'm sharing that with you is because I wanted to give you a bit of insight into myself, and in particular the challenges that a lot of you are facing, which is a lack of time. And this period when I was building my family business was a very rapid and intense time in my life. As I said, I'd gone from a garden shed to being on TV, being watched by millions, viral music videos. But what I realized, and this was critical, is that I'd actually created myself a job that I couldn't leave. If I didn't work, I didn't get paid. My boss, i.e. me, was a lunatic. No days off, 18-hour days, no social life. It was stressful. I felt as though there was no way out. And I just had this mentality of just work, work. I thought just by working through everything, I'd get an answer. And so much so, and some of you may be able to relate to this, that if you look at the picture on the left-hand side, I'm kind of sitting there with my hands in the air like this, and it says 10:17 p.m. in London on a Saturday night, and this is how we spend our evening and weekend. I'm celebrating working when I shouldn't be. You know, evenings and weekends are your time, and you shouldn't actually have to be working. But I was in the mindset that I should be working, and I was celebrating it. And so much so that in my old house, literally took my work home with me and used it as a warehouse. And until I actually started getting some business coaching and started to get some help, because I realized I didn't want that life anymore. I didn't know what to do. And after my first session, I made a paradigm shift in my thinking. It was a massive change, and realized that the biggest problem in my business was me. I was the bottleneck. I was the person that had caused all of this. And so in order for that to change, I had to change. And on my way home, I booked my first 7-day holiday in 7 years. So you can see the picture on the right-hand side with my wife. And I took action. That was the key thing. After the first session, I took action and decided to make changes in who I was and the knowledge and the skills that I had in order to start building a business that wasn't so reliant on me. So just in the chat box, does anyone know who this is? If you do, just write the name if you know who this person is. Or if you don't know, just say don't know or no. Roger Bannister, Chris. Yeah, correct. This is Roger Bannister. 4-minute mile or something, correct. So the reason I'm sharing this with you is this all begins for you to all start working fewer hours and to start having a more profitable business. It all starts with what story are you telling yourself? So in 1954, it's believed that Roger Bannister became the first athlete to run a mile in under 4 minutes. In all time before that, it was thought humanly impossible. You know, it's not possible biologically, it's not possible, but Roger Bannister did it in 1954. Now, that's not the amazing thing. The amazing thing is his record lasted, I think it was something like 46 days. And then in the following 12 months, another 20 people broke that record. So what had changed? What had changed in the run-up to 1954, Roger Bannister completing the mile in under 4 minutes, and then all of a sudden everyone is doing it. And all that had changed was that it was a paradigm shift in thinking. What was previously thought to be impossible was now proven to be possible. And so likewise with yourselves, if you want to make a note of this, ask yourself, what story are you telling yourself? What are you telling yourself is possible and is not possible? Are you telling yourself stories about your staff or your freelancers? Are you telling yourself stories about your ability to take time off? What mind shift do you need to make in order to start freeing yourself from the position that you're in at the moment? So what drives change in me and in you? What's the magic pill? So we use this concept called the identity iceberg. This is an iceberg. Most people, when they choose to start making a change in themselves, they kind of go above the waterline. You know, you start to look at some of the decisions that you're making, some of the behaviors that you have, and some of the actions that you're taking, which is a great start. You know, you have to start somewhere. But true, powerful, and meaningful change actually starts below the water level. 75% of true change is below the water level. So if you start from the top down, skills, you know, perhaps there's an opportunity for you to start looking at what skills you need to start freeing up your time as a business owner or to become more profitable, and identifying what skills are possibly missing. Where can you get them from? What beliefs do you have? You know, going back to that paradigm shift in thinking, do you believe it's a tough marketplace out there? Do you believe that people are going to challenge you on your pricing? And this could be personal beliefs as well. And then you start to get really, really deep. You know, what values do you hold very dear to yourself? And how open are you to changing those values if you really want to change your life? And then finally, what identity do you have? Your I am statements. You know, a lot of people that I speak with, they say, you know, I'm not a salesperson. You know, I'm not a marketing person. I'm a creative. But actually, when you're a business owner, you wear many hats. You're the HR person, the recruitment person, the salesperson, the office manager. You are the creative. You are the architectural technologist. You're many things. But to start making that change, you have to go very deep. But there is a final 5% that you can literally change overnight, and it was something that I did that drove instant change in my world. So if we look at the concept of the iceberg, what is the one thing that would change an iceberg's size? What would make it bigger or smaller? Just some thoughts in the chat box. Warmer water, warming, correct? Environment, who said that? Paul. Spot on, Paul. It's the environment. Now, I just want you to think about that before I reveal the rest of this particular slide. Think about the environment of an iceberg. As it starts to get warmer, either in the water or outside of it, it's going to start to melt. If it gets colder, it's going to freeze and get bigger and bigger. And likewise with yourselves, think about your environment, what warms you and what cools you down. Your environment is the deepest change that you can make, but luckily it's the change that causes the biggest impact and it can happen overnight. So you all making time to be here today, you have chosen to change your environment, to be surrounded by other like-minded business owners who are looking to work fewer hours and make more profit. So when we talk of environment, we talk of your home space. A lot of people work from home. What is your working environment like? Is it conducive to you creating positive change? What about your office space? If you're actually in an office, how's it set up? The people in your office and around your office? What books are you reading? You know, if you're on social media, what's your social media feed like? You know, is your environment designed deliberately to help you make the changes that you want in your life and to have the life that you want? Now, the next one's very powerful. People. What types of people are in your environment? Now, with family and maybe even certain types of friends, it's difficult because you can't always choose your family. But certain types of people are going to be anchors in your life, and certain types of people are going to be the wind to your sails. So make a note of your environment and the people in your environment. And this could include staff as well. Your education. You know, you've all made massive strides in being here today, taking time out of your day to receive some education and some new knowledge, so that you can make changes for a better future. Do you have business mentoring or coaching? You know, are you seeking this type of information on YouTube? Are you going out and speaking to people that are going to mentor you in your business? And finally, are you surrounded by people you like, or people you aspire to be like? So what I'd like for you all to do, just take 2 minutes or so and write down your top 3 light bulbs or changes that you could possibly make in your environment to help you progress and move forward to achieve the type of life and business that you want. So just a minute or so to write that down, please. And you don't have to, but if anyone's feeling confident enough to share in the chat box, please do share some of the actions that you could take to change your environment, because I promise you, changing your environment can change your life literally overnight, as it did mine when I went home from the coaching session. Yeah, so repeating what you need to write down, please write down your top 1 to 3 actions to change your environment, to create the type of life and business that you are after. And again, if anyone's feeling confident enough or you feel happy enough to do so, please share that in the chat box. If not, that's okay. Business mentoring, reading and research, forced breaks, self-praise. John, I love that. Self-praise is huge. We're guilty of not doing that as business owners, because it can be very lonely as well. You know, when you're the business owner, you're at the brunt end of everything, and it takes a lot of, this is your identity, your I am statements, the actions that you take. So I love that. Thanks for sharing that, John. Managing your work-life balance. Simon, perhaps just consider how you can change your environment to affect that what action can you take to change your environment to improve life? Because work and life are actually one and the same, right? Okay, so just another minute or so. Thank you to everyone who shared as well. Very, very much appreciated. Learn to say no. Increased fees. So remember, we're talking about environment, okay? Like I mentioned, you know, books, mentorship, friends, family. Learn to turn the phone off is number one. Yeah, that will definitely change your environment. Regular sleep, operations manual. So just to recap, the type of environmental changes that you can look at is your physical space at home. How is that conducive to you being successful? Your office space, physical office space, the books that you're reading, your social media feed, the types of people that you follow and you're choosing to follow, the people you physically choose to spend time with in your life. Are you choosing to spend time with the right types of people, or are you just making do? These are environmental changes that you can make overnight. Your education that you're getting, and are you being surrounded by people that you aspire to be like? So these are the 4 typical areas of frustration that we find across the board in most businesses. And so hopefully you can resonate. So time, there's a pain around time, so not enough time or working all of the time. Time management, which is actually self-management. Team, so the people in your team, finding the right staff, retaining the right staff, having the right people around you. Money, so cash flow challenges, discounting, which is, I know, a huge problem in the industry. Someone said earlier, working for free. So that's a big area of frustration. And then marketing. So whether that's a case of doing marketing right or having the confidence and the setup to market in the right way. These are the areas that we coach on extensively and we'll touch upon today because we know that these are the common areas of frustration in a business. So I love this first question. What is a business? And again, I'm going to put it to the chat box. I'd love to know your thoughts as to what is a business. What is a business? Thoughts in the chat box, please. Somewhere to make money, an entity that provides for you. Roger, that's interesting. Something that runs without you having input. Paul, I love that. That's great. Oh, someone's got a newborn. Yes, there will be a recording. I'll share that later. An activity that you enjoy. Interesting. Okay, so if you want to jot this down, this is what I got taught to be the definition of a business, and I have now made it my definition of a business. A business is a commercial and profitable enterprise which works without you. But if you're in the creative industries or built environment industries, you know, you may not necessarily not want to work anymore. But so you can amend this statement, say a commercial and profitable enterprise which works without you if you wish. So if you wish to continue practicing what you do, that's okay. But the option should be there that your business can actually run without you, whether you are there or not. So it's almost like you create yourself a job within your own business. So a commercial and profitable enterprise which works without you. What is a business coach? For those of you who don't know or may be interested, what is a business coach? The best description we have is the unreasonable friend who holds you accountable to what you say that you're going to do. And it helps you overcome the challenges in business by simply creating the time for you to understand and realize what your challenges are and create the solutions that you actually know deep down. And is business coaching right for everyone? Probably not. If you're someone who says, I know, yeah, but, and you feel like you've got the answers, it's probably not for you. However, if you're someone who's more open-minded, and you have a growth mindset, and you typically say, go on, I'm listening, that sounds interesting, possibly business coaching could be for you. So this is the model that we use. to build your business. So you can screen grab this, and I'll be sharing this later on with you. Where most people are, and I started in this same place, is in chaos. So the first layer to building your business is eliminating chaos. So when I talk of chaos, I'm talking about all of the challenges that everyone mentioned earlier: cash flow issues, recruitment challenges. There could be marketing challenges. You know, time mastery is a huge one. Your time seems to get away from you. Projects can overrun, and so on and so forth. So the first thing that we do is we actually start to eliminate chaos by teaching people to gain mastery in the world. So destination mastery. Do you all know where you're going? What are your goals? What are your vision statements, your mission statements? And are they actually being lived in your business? Whether you're a solo, a solopreneur and you bring in freelancers, or you've got a team of 20, is there clarity in your culture and goal setting and KPIs and so on and so forth in your team? Time mastery, which is actually self-mastery, gaining mastery of how you're spending your time and being aware of your own efficiencies or inefficiencies so you can start to make changes. Delivery mastery, the best example I can give is perhaps McDonald's. You can go to any McDonald's in the world, and the way in which you receive your order is going to be the exact same anywhere in the world. They've got a system and process, which means that the delivery of their product is exactly the same. Are you currently delivering your product and service to your clients in the exact same way every single time, using whether it's template systems, processes, scripts, and so on and so forth? And money mastery, which we're going to touch on today. Do you know about the profitability in your projects and in your business? Are you aware of cash flow? You know, when you discount, do you really know the impact of that discounting choice on your business? So as we start to work through this and we start to eliminate chaos, we then build up and start to create predictable cash flow and work with you to do this. Then efficiencies. So further work on your vision, mission, culture statement, implementing that in your business, creating organizational charts, contracts, KPIs, how-to guides and videos. And then you start to create structures and a hierarchy in your business. And as a business owner, you start monitoring team performance. You then create a well-oiled machine. And eventually you're in that position where the business is working without you. And you could start to look at your own personal growth and new business opportunities. Ultimately, all of this put together over a period of time leads to massive results: time, team, money, and marketing success. So just to give you an example, there's a difference between working in the business and on the business. In the business means you're doing the technical work, you're doing the firefighting every single day. On the business means you're taking time out and doing what you're doing today and thinking strategically about your business. Now, typically we advise anywhere between 3 to 5 hours a week working on your business and making time to do that like you've done today. If you do that, you know, we'd look to have your business become self-sufficient within 5 to 6 years. If you can dedicate up to 20 hours a week, you'd shortcut that to maybe 2 to 3 years. So today we're going to be spending some time on mastery. How efficient is your practice? Quick question to ask yourself. So what I did want to share with you all is that, look, you're going to come across some information today when you may feel either overwhelmed or that you want to do everything immediately. And it doesn't always work like that. What we're actually looking at is marginal gains. So this is the Red Bull F1 team. I think it was 15 or 20 years ago. A pit stop was something like 30 seconds or 40 seconds. Today, does anyone have any idea how efficient a pit stop is in an F1 team? Just in the chat box. 2 seconds, yeah, exactly. 2 seconds, less than 2 seconds, exactly. In fact, I saw an incredible one where McLaren, I think it was Bottas and Lewis Hamilton, they did like a double pit stop. Within seconds, the team was in and out, but it was marginal gains. And so what we're going to start looking at now is in your business, where can you possibly start to get some marginal gains? So here we have an example of a practice. Okay, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 11 staff members, the package that they're on, the utilization of that particular staff member. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. forgive me if I'm asking something obvious. Is everyone aware of what utilization is within a practice and staff? Just a yes or no in the chat box, please. Yes, no, 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 no. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so a very quick overview is, let's say person A who's on £90,000, they're being utilized for billable work 66% of the time. Other times they may be doing, management work, they may be doing strategic work and so on and so forth, but actual billable time, they're being utilized 66% of the time. So the cost of their billable work, 90,000 times 66% is £59,000. So the reason that this is important to know, and this is where your timesheets and work logs start to come in and how effective you are at tracking. The reason it's so important to know your utilization is because you really need to understand the costs, especially on a project by project basis. Because it's one thing knowing overall, whether it's every quarter or every year, whether your business is in profit or in loss. But actually what we want to get down to, and a lot of people were talking about this earlier, is how profitable are each of your projects? And someone said, you want to kind of eliminate working for free. Well, the reason you're working for free is there's probably not an awareness around how your costs work. So if we take this example, let's calculate true profit. So we work with a partner called Total Synergy. I'm sure there's many other platforms out there that help people manage their fees. Some people may just use spreadsheets, but let's just use this example. So this is your staff member, Anne. And her cost is £30.52 an hour. So she's on £50,000 a year, working 37.5 hours a week. So if you see here, she's on £50,000 a year, including all her taxes, etc., etc. She works 1,950 hours a year. She's available 84% of the time to do billable work. And so basically that means her hourly cost to the business is £30. Now the overhead rate is basically to cover fixed expenses in the business and the salary. So the office space, the internet, the heating, everything else. So whatever your staff cost is, typically across practices, on average, if you double it, that will give you a break even. So in order to break even for Anne, her time needs to be billed at £61.05 an hour. Now, let's say in Anne's case, we wish to make a 20% margin on her time. Okay, so what we're going to do is bill her out at £76.31 an hour with a 20% margin. Now, if we do this for Anne, and let's say if we go back to this particular page here, and people working on this particular project is Anne on £50,000. We've got Tom, John, and Sylvia. All four people are working on the project. If we know what their hourly cost is from a salary perspective, if we know what their break-even cost is, we know the absolute minimum we can bill their time out on an hourly perspective. And then if we're aiming for a 20% margin, let's say, we know what rate we need to be billing their time out at. Now, if we have this information to hand for projects, now this also applies if you're bringing in freelancers or if you've got employed people in your team. If we know what the cost is for the team, and we've said, okay, fine, we are estimating that this particular project is going to take us 10 hours. If we start to discount using this method, how do we know what impact that's going to have to our profits? Just some thoughts in the chat box. Anyone? Not sure. Would you like me to explain that again? Oh, okay. If we discount, we work same hours for less. Correct, Miriam. Yeah, it's exactly that. If you know that, look, your project fee has been set based on roughly 10 hours of work, you're going to have 4 people working on the team, and so you've based your fees on that estimation. If you then start to discount or start offering extra hours of work without charging for it, naturally, without this level of awareness in your business, it's going to affect how much profit each project gives you. So the reason we want to be doing it in this way, rather than looking at it holistically, as I said earlier on, whether your business overall is in profit or in loss, the reason we want to be doing it this way is that we want to know on a project by project basis, are you profitable? And if you are giving a discount, what impact is that discount going to have to your business? Because without this level of awareness, and you don't necessarily have to go to this depth, but it's really important to know what your time is costing you, what your team's time is costing you, how many hours are going into the project, and actually how much profit you're aiming to make at the end of the day. And it's really important to then understand that if you choose to discount, or if you choose to work extra hours without charging for it, how that's going to impact the profitability of that particular project and then overall your business. Made even worse, Ryan, made even worse by scope creep. Yeah, precisely. It gets even worse when scope creep occurs. And so this is where having mastery around your delivery, your contracts, what's being agreed and not agreed, and so on and so forth is so important. Because without it, it starts to erode the profits that you're making in your business and actually what you end up keeping. Any questions on that, just in the chat box? Because I'll make a note of this and we can go back to it later on. Anyone unclear? Okay, nothing in the chat box. Okay, fine. So I'll be offering some time to you all slightly later on if you want to explore this whole idea about calculating true profits in your business. I'm going to be offering you all time to be able to sit down and go through that slightly later on. So I'll cover that later. But moving on to marketing. Again, just some thoughts in the chat box, please. What is marketing? Just some answers to that particular question. What is marketing in your opinion? Massive time demand. John. Brand awareness, advertising, telling others what you do, advertising, seeking opportunities. Okay, promoting the business, advertising, social media. Okay, so if you wish to jot this down, please do. Marketing, the equal sign, lead generation. That's all marketing is. To simplify it down, all marketing is lead generation. Someone puts up their hand and says, yes, I'm interested in what you do. That is literally all marketing is. Now, this could be from potential new customers, or it could be from existing clients, or people that have shown interest with you but have not done business with you. So that's all marketing is. It's lead generation. So the two main reasons people will not buy your services are down to trust and money. Any thoughts on what that means? In the chat box, please. What does that mean if someone's not going to buy from you because of trust and money? Cost is right or no reviews, trusting you deliver, timescales unrealistic, marketing is a numbers game with cold leads, recognizing value. Interesting. Do you come with a recommendation? Are you financially viable? Very good, very good. So look, I think the best example I can think of that everyone can relate to is probably Amazon. Now, if you're looking to buy a product and you go onto Amazon's website or the app and you're looking at that particular product, there's a lot of work that's gone into building trust. Okay, so what types of things are on Amazon's page to help build trust when you're looking at a product? Reviews, yep, perfect. What else? Reviews. What else do they offer to build trust? Returns policy, exactly. What else? They do star ratings, very, very visual. Star rating, they have a returns policy, they have guarantees, they have beautiful pictures, very clean on a white background, so you know exactly what you're getting. So all these little things, yeah, dealing with a proper company, exactly. You're not dealing with just a single person, you're dealing with a proper business. So there's multiple ways that they are building trust without you really even knowing it. Now, money, and again, this goes back to discounting, is what's written underneath, knowing and communicating your value. If you sell on price, it becomes a race to the bottom. If you're having conversations around fees and that's all you're talking about, it becomes a race to the bottom. But a question to ask yourself, and please do jot this down, is how are you communicating your value? What is your unique selling point? What is your guarantee? What is your value? Now, again, unfortunately, we can spend hours on marketing and really diving into this, but this is probably the best start point if you want to explore your marketing and make it even better. Identify who your dream client is or dream clients. Write that down. Identify how at the moment you are or are not building trust, and identify how you can start to communicate your services based on value rather than on fees. So building trust and a positive team culture. Again, we honestly spend hours and hours and hours coaching on this, because it's not an overnight thing. But generally there's some top level changes that can be made. I know for a lot of business owners, giving trust to staff or handing over trust from something that you're building can be a challenge. But what is the reason for that? Why is trust a problem? Any thoughts in the chat box, please? Loss of control, risk of losing reputation. Yeah. They aren't you. Value to my client is directly related to what I do, so I have to be involved. Standard goes down. AT and not an architect. It's your baby and letting go is not easy. Okay, so let's flip the switch slightly. If you were to take ownership of all of this and take responsibility for all of this, what could you do to ensure that the people that you hire or work with are in a position to deliver the standard of work, deliver the standard of service that your clients have become used to since they've been working for you? What can you do? Make them part owner? I mean, that's quite a big step, Ian. I wouldn't go that far straight away. Training, structures in place, pay well, processes, rewards, promotions, training and processes, train them. How often should we be training people, especially if we want a positive team culture? You know, a lot of people talk about, I want this type of team culture. I want it to be creative. I want it to be positive and so on and so forth. But how often should we be training our team? Every day? Consistently, ongoing? Exactly. All of those are the right answers. If you bring someone in and you train them once, it's not going to work. Training is an ongoing process that happens for the life of someone's relationship with you in their business. I mean, if you look at, I don't know, Premier League football teams, their players train every single day, not only in football skills, but in the culture of the squad, the culture of the team. Everything is implemented and reinforced every single day. So a question to ask yourself is, at the moment, where are your opportunities to build trust and a more positive team culture in your business? Rather than putting it on the staff that you have at the moment, what can you do to start making some changes? Just 1 to 2 actions that you could possibly take. And answers in a chat box. Hopefully France haven't traded too hard. I fully agree, Paul. Answers in the chat box. What do most people use when they're hiring someone? Do they hire for skill or do they hire for attitude? Attitude. Mark, anyone else? Skill or attitude? Skill. A couple of people saying attitude. Most, if I'm being completely honest, and I was exactly the same, most hire for skill. I want a marketing person. I'm going to look at their CV, look at what skills they have in marketing, and that's the person that I'm going to hire. But if we want a positive team culture, if we want someone to come into our team to treat our clients and care for our clients the same way that we do, we must start looking at how we can hire for attitude instead, because skills can be taught to an extent. Of course, technical skills and accredited skills, you can't necessarily teach them in-house. You want them with the person, but then it means that what you do is that you're hiring for attitude first out of a group of people that have the skill set already. But if you're making that subtle change, that's going to lead to you building a more positive team culture and starting to build trust in your team, because you're hiring people with the right attitude. And if you've got team members in your office at the moment that perhaps don't have the right attitude, it may be worth considering how you go about your hiring process later on. The final question to ask you is, if you're recruiting, how many different channels are you using for recruiting? Are you posting just on LinkedIn? Or are you using 10 to 20 different channels, such as all the different social media platforms, your website, blogs, LinkedIn, forums, CIAT platform? How many different channels are you using to hire the right types of person? So as I said, again, we coach extensively on this because it's not a quick fix. And I've left you with a couple of questions, which hopefully you can take action on and to start making changes. But I want to spend a bit of time with you all on this because it's the most powerful strategy you can use to increase profits and cash flow right now in your business. Definitely it's time to take notes, and you're going to want to write this down. So we call this system the 5 ways, the 5-way system to increase your business profits. Now, thoughts in the chat box, please. What is the difference between the items in white and the items in yellow? What is the difference? What you control and yellow you can't. Spot on, Lee. The items in yellow are outcomes. They're almost irrelevant because they are outcomes. The items in white is what you can control in your business. So let's go through a working example. So this particular business that we all have generates 4,000 leads a year. So remember, a lead is literally someone saying, yes, I'm interested in what you do. We have a conversion rate of 25%. Any thoughts on what a conversion rate is? Forgive me if I'm asking a obvious question, but I just want to make sure. In the chat box, conversion rate. Success rate. Yeah, leads to appointments. Your conversion rate is basically from those number of leads, how many people become customers. So in this example, we've got a 25% conversion rate, which means we've got 1,000 customers. Number of transactions a year, not entirely applicable here, because someone may do business with you once every 7 years or 8 years, but just work with me on this example. In this business that we've got, our customers transact with us 2 times a year. So in theory, we've got 2,000 customers because they're going to buy from us 2 times a year. And every time they spend money with us, they spend £100 on average. So any thoughts on what the turnover of this business is in the chat box? Well, I've revealed it now, 200,000. Trigger happy. So in this particular business, we've got a profit margin. Let's call it a net profit margin of 25%. So after all of our costs and expenses, we get to keep 25% of this 200,000, which is £50,000. So here's why, knowing these metrics, and again, I'll be completely transparent, I had never come across this before. I was not tracking any of these metrics, and it took me a long time to get systems and processes in place where I could start to track these metrics. Number of leads, conversion rate, number of transactions, average sale value, and margin. I wasn't tracking it before, but then I started to when I saw this. So let's say in a best case scenario, we increased 10% across the board of the 5 ways. So 4,000 leads becomes 4,400 because it's increased by 10%. We've done some work on improving our conversion rate to 27.5%. So just some thoughts in the chat box. What work can we do to improve our conversion rate? Think about Amazon. More trust, follow up. Yep, perfect. Yeah, exactly. Our sales script has improved. We're better at building trust with our potential clients. We're following up more. So we're increasing our conversion rate to 27.5%. Answers in the chat box. What does that do then to our number of customers? If we're increasing all areas by 10%, what does that do to our number of customers? Anyone got a number? 1,100. Paul, anyone else? Less? In fact, it's a bit of a trick question. The number of customers actually goes to 1,210. Now, why is that? The reason it happens is because of something called compounding. We're now doing 4,400 new leads coming in because we've improved our marketing skills. We've improved our conversion rate. So of that 4,400, we're actually being able to convert more clients. So just a 10% increase in those 2 areas has now given us an extra 210 customers a year. So let's say we figure out a way for them to transact with us more throughout the year. So 2.2 times. Send them some emails, we give them special offers, we add extra value somehow. And then also we increase the average spend, the average basket value every time they spend money with us. Again, maybe we're adding extra value, offers, whatever it might be. What does that then do to our turnover? So if you want to do the math on your phone, it's 1,210 times 2.2 times 110. Yeah, like Paul, exactly, like compound interest, exactly. Any thoughts? What does that do to our turnover? 292,820, perfect. It's exactly that. Our turnover jumps £92,000. We've only touched 4 of these metrics, let's say in a year. We've gone from 200,000 to 292,000, which is huge. Let's say we increase our profit margin. Multiple ways we can do that. Maybe we can become more efficient, what we were talking about earlier. But our profit now in this business has gone from 50 to 80,000 pounds. So this is not you necessarily doing more hours of work. This is you changing some of the ways that you run your business as it is. So from a percentage perspective, your turnover goes up 46%, profits are up 61%. Now, yes, of course, this is hypothetical. It's not entirely accurate for your industry in terms of number of transactions, but those number of transactions could happen every 7 years, let's say, or every 8 years. There's nothing stopping you communicating with people to do business with you maybe when they move house. But the point is, by looking at these 5 metrics, there's very quick wins for you in terms of increasing the profitability in your business almost overnight. So which should we tackle first out of the 5 ways? Thoughts in the chat box, please. Which should we tackle first? Conversion rate, margin, leads and conversion, leads, margin. Interesting. A couple of people got it spot on. The first thing we want to look at is margin. Now, why is that? Why do we want to look at margin first? Because immediately after we end this presentation, you could increase your prices by 10% and figure out how you can sell on value, and all of a sudden your profit margins have gone up. It's not cost you anything. You've not had to put any extra work into anything that you do. But the next fee proposal that you send out, if you increase it all by 10% and ensure that you present that fee proposal on value, pure value, you're making extra money without doing anything. The second area that you want to look at is conversion rate. Because again, it's not going to cost you anything, and there's probably some quick wins that you could look at to increase the conversion rate of your business. The average transaction value, then the number of transactions a year, and leads, the number of leads is last. Why do you think that is? Why is the number of leads last? Extra leads will require more staff, streamline business. Having a pile of work is no good if we don't have any staff to do it. There'll be inevitably negative impact on the business. That's understood because it's an investment, takes more time to do. Yeah, all of the above. Because at a 25% hit rate, we could work on the ones we haven't won. Yeah, exactly. You probably all got databases of people that have shown interest in what you do. But possibly there's an opportunity to go back to them. But, I mean, the thing is that the number of leads is last purely because it costs you money. And it's a lot of time, effort, and energy to bring new leads in. Wherever you're promoting your services, it's going to cost you, whether it's on social media, whether it's using House, or whether it's using any other platform, there's going to be a cost involved. But these other items are really low-hanging fruit for you to start looking at increasing the profitability in your business. So as I mentioned earlier on, we've got limited time available today, and what I would like to offer absolutely everyone is gifted 1-hour coaching to work through your business. If you felt that what we did today was of value, and you had some light bulbs that went off. It's like, as I said, it's an hour-long session. We work specifically on some of the challenges that you're facing in your business. And similar today, the idea is that you walk away with value and with some light bulbs and some actions that are going to help you achieve whatever it is that you're trying to achieve in your business. If anyone is interested in that, again, could I please just have a yes in the chat box so I know, and then I can share the information on how you can get that. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay, so if you just bear with me. Again, if you can carry on just saying yes, please, in the chat box, that will really help a great deal, because then we know who to reach out to make this all happen. There's no charge to it. It's an hour's coaching session. Great example of lead generation. Yeah, Ryan, exactly. It's a great example of lead generation. Thank you to everyone who said yes. So if you just have a look at the chat box now, I've just shared a link. Oh, someone else has just said yes. I'll share that again. It takes about 3 minutes to complete. There's 2 parts to the form. So the first one is just your name, number, and name and email address. The second part is a bit more about your business. And the reason the second part is so important is because we really dive into where you are today and how we can help you. And that's the most important thing. So it gives us an understanding of who you are, what your business is, how we can help you, and what you're trying to achieve. So feel free to click that link and complete. If any of you use Instagram, you can scan this, connect with me on Instagram. I work with a lot of people, whether they're clients or not, through Instagram. They send me questions. I just send them voice notes or thoughts on how they can overcome a challenge that they're facing. They may have questions about coaching. But yeah, if you scan that, that will connect you to my Instagram. We can stay in contact, and genuinely, I'm here to help. I know what it's like on the other side and how challenging it can be. But I can assure you that none of the challenges that you've shared with me today are unusual. We've coached many businesses and helped many businesses overcome similar challenges, and so we can do the same with you as well. Thank you all for today. It's 10:57. I'm okay to hang on for another 10 minutes or so. Noura, if you're there, let me just stop sharing. Yes, if anyone, feel free to unmute yourself, or you can put a question in the chat box, or if there's anything that you wish to say, please do. I'm happy to hang around for another 5 or 10 minutes. If you wish to leave, please feel free to do so. And I wanted to thank you all for your participation today and for being here, and staying until the very end as well. Very much appreciated. Thank you all. Appreciate the thank yous. Any questions? Anything that anyone wishes to get some clarity on? You can either unmute or put it in the chat box. So just to let you all know, we will be emailing you all the link to the recording. We'll send you a copy of the deck as well, so you can reference any of those slides, and then also the link to the gifted coaching, if that's something that you're interested in as well. Which social media platform do you recommend to use? I personally, I'm heavily using Instagram, but I'd say for your industry, probably Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn are going to be quite powerful, purely because they're very visual platforms. And LinkedIn, there's obviously a lot of professionals on there, but again, the main thing is learning how to use those platforms. It can be very overwhelming to feel as though you have to be participating when there's not necessarily a level of clarity in terms of what you're doing and why you're doing it. So I'd say start with one. If you're uncomfortable, just pick one, get really good at that, and then you can move on to the next one. Other than popping 10% extra margin on a quote, is there any other resources you recommend to make a meaningful change? Yeah, I'd say definitely looking at your efficiency in your industry. Looking at your efficiency is really important, because that's going to improve your profit margins. Because, you know, like we talked about, if there's scope creep, if there's discounting, if there's doing extra work without billing for it, that's going to hit your profits quite hard. And having a level of awareness around your fee structure, your costs, is really important, because once you have eyes on that data, it will then help you make choices in terms of if you wish to allow the scope creep, or the discounting, or the extra hours, or whatever else it might be. But typically, as I said, the 10% margin is the quickest and easiest win. It doesn't cost you anything. You can do it overnight, and most people don't even notice. It's so nominal. Any other questions? Engineer some time for the business. Again, that's a great point, AJ. If you can make, even if it's a half an hour a week, where you're not in the business, but you're taking time out to work on the business, it's going to give you massive rewards. Because it's not that you don't know the answers, it's just that you don't have you've not created the time for you to think about the answers to the challenges that you're facing, or to even ask yourself the types of questions you need to be asking yourself to overcome your own challenges. So if you can put aside a half an hour or an hour each week to start with, that is a fantastic start point. So for example, on the coaching program, we have a group coaching program. It's every month, it's 2.5 hours of coaching plus an hour's implementation session, plus 20 minutes accountability coaching every week. So you're taking time out to work on your business, and it's part of the curriculum, purely because we know that without doing that, number one, it's going to be too much knowledge too soon, and number two, there's not enough time to take action outside of when you get the learnings. And I'd recommend from today, identify your top 3 light bulb moments and just take action on those to start with. Don't worry about everything else. Just identify your top 3, take action on those, because they're going to make huge changes in your world. A list of contact details and email addresses would be useful for attendees. It's always useful to bounce off each other. Jonathan, yeah, we'd have to just check GDPR in order to make that happen. Joanna, Nura, maybe we could talk about that, somehow connecting everyone that's attended today, because I think it'd be really powerful from an environment perspective and a community perspective to get everyone together. Even if you don't own a business, it's good to do weekly CPD. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Okay, great. If there's anything else, please do share it. But otherwise, thank you all so much for your attendance today and for engaging. It makes it better for me, makes it more enjoyable for me, and just great to know that everyone's gotten something from it. All right, take care, everyone. Thank you so much.